The Strait of Hormuz is no longer just on the edge. It has now entered a dangerous new phase. Just 90 minutes ago, the United States began its naval blockade, marking a major escalation in one of the world's most critical shipping lanes. Donald Trump has warned Iran that any of its naval vessels approaching the strait will be eliminated. This comes just after diplomatic talks collapsed in Pakistan, pushing Washington back toward military options. American officials say the focus now is on limited and targeted strikes aimed at breaking the deadlock without triggering a full-scale war. Washington has now moved ahead with a full naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, adding that the blockade will not impede neutral transit passage through the Strait of Hormuz to or from non-Iranian destinations. Humanitarian shipments, including food, medical supplies, and other essential goods, will be permitted subject to inspection. Now, according to the U.S. military, any vessel entering or departing the blockaded area without authorization is subject to interception, diversion, and capture. The U.S. military says the blockade applies to all vessel traffic, regardless of flag. Donald Trump has issued another warning on his Truth Social post. He said that the U.S. forces would respond swiftly to any interference with maritime operations and also warned that any Iranian ships interfering in the blockade will be eliminated. But this strategy comes with high stakes, as Iran has now issued a direct warning. It says that if its ports or energy infrastructure are targeted, it will respond by making the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman unsafe for all. Iran has also declared that the Strait of Hormuz must be accessible to all or not at all, treating the blockade as an illegal action.
Iran and India has a good relation. And in this case, we have a good contact, and we believe that we should prepare a good preparation. And I think that in this case, the relevant institution in Iran will have a stance in the near future.
Now, the global reaction has been swift and cautious. UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer has distanced London from any blockade. Russia has warned of serious consequences for global markets, and the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has stressed that freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz is paramount. Spain has also questioned the logic of the operation, calling it impractical. Australia, meanwhile, has stopped short of committing forces, saying that it will only act if a broader international coalition takes place. Now, Japan is watching developments as well, and it's watching it closely, but it has not pledged support yet. This lack of backing, remember, raises serious questions. Just before diplomatic talks collapsed, 2 U.S. destroyers claimed to have transited the strait. But Iranian media released a video claiming those American warships were warned off and forced to retreat by the Iranian Navy.
Attention all vessels, attention all vessels, attention all vessels in Oman Sea. This is Iranian Sepah Navy. If you see any warship in your vicinity, keep a distance more than 10 miles from them, because I'm ready to open fire on them without any warning. This is Sepah Navy Station. You must alter course and go back to the Indian Ocean immediately. If you don't obey my order, you will be targeted.
Now, according to reports, one of the key options on the table is a resumption of precision attacks inside Iran. One, not to trigger a full-scale war, reportedly, but with a larger objective of breaking the current deadlock in negotiations. A broader bombing campaign remains a possibility, but remember, at this moment, it appears to be unlikely. While the fragile ceasefire still holds, fresh warnings are now emerging from the region. At the start of today's cabinet meeting, Benjamin Netanyahu reportedly said that the Iran-American ceasefire could turn on a dime any moment. Stopping Iran's nuclear program has been at the forefront of Trump and Netanyahu's campaign in Iran. Operation Epic Fury, which was launched on the 28th of February, aims to prevent Iran from achieving weapons-ready nuclear stockpile. While airstrikes and long-range attacks can damage facilities, destroying or removing Iran's nuclear stockpile would likely require a full-scale ground invasion, with more than 50,000 troops already present across West Asia and reports of the 82nd Airborne slated to join the force. Washington's intention of putting boots on the ground is evident. But such an operation would not only face Iran's military fury, its natural defenses. Any ground operation into Iran, remember, would have to be highly specific and limited in scope. Otherwise, it could lead to endless deployments with huge costs and limited success, similar to past conflicts in Vietnam or in Afghanistan or even Iraq. Questions are now being raised about America's military readiness in the region. The U.S. Navy's most advanced aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, is currently out of action, undergoing repairs in Croatia. Another carrier, the USS Abraham Lincoln, remains deployed in the Arabian Sea near the Gulf of Oman. So whatever Trump chooses next will come with major risks. Relaunching full-scale invasion will drain military resources. If he draws out from the military operation while the Iranian regime is still intact with its nuclear ambitions and the control over Hormuz, it will be considered a victory for Iran. And not to forget the massive pressure which Donald Trump is facing back home. A CBS poll suggests 59% of Americans believe that the conflict is not going well. Many feel that key objectives, from securing shipping routes to curbing Iran's nuclear ambitions, remain unmet. Trump has majorly campaigned on avoiding prolonged foreign wars, but this moment in West Asia has put him in a delicate position. The economic fallout over America's naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz has strained global energy crisis further. Oil has jumped back above $100 a barrel and global stocks are in free fall. The global food system is under further duress as well, impacting what is on your plate. Prices of fertilizers remain sharply elevated, up more than 85%, directly impacting food costs. Fertilizers depend heavily on natural gas, and nearly 20% of global LNG passes through the Strait of Hormuz. The region also accounts for a significant share of ammonia, urea, and sulfur exports. So any disruption, like the one prevailing currently, hits supply chains that farmers depend on largely. So in a nutshell, growing food is now becoming more expensive for farmers. Experts say even if energy prices stabilize eventually, the same will not hold true for fertilizer costs.
So we're going to see a very big jump in prices in every single material around the world, from energy to food, because actually farmers depend on fertilizers, and there's a lot of fertilizers that are being produced in the region. There's a lot of scarcity which is coming our way.
Early estimates warn crop yields could drop 10 to 15%, especially across Asia, even as the rice season approaches. Now, for countries like India and Indonesia, which rely on West Asia for nearly 30% of LNG needs, the impact is already visible. Fertilizer production is slowing, pushing costs even higher. This creates a chain reaction: higher input costs, lower farm output, and tighter food supplies. Farmers are reportedly weighing tough calls. They cut fertilizer use, switch crops, or delay planting. And that directly affects everyone. The UN's World Food Programme warns that food insecurity in Asia-Pacific could rise by 24%, and retail food prices may even climb by at least 3.6% in the coming months. And there's another risk: countries could restrict exports to protect their own supplies, making shortages worse globally. So along with instability in fuel prices, another major energy crisis has been unfolding, but quietly. A potential food inflation cycle, one that is projected to hit household budgets very soon. And now shifting our focus to Lebanon, the war theater remains active on this front, although Israel and Lebanon's envoys to the U.S. are likely to meet for ceasefire negotiations in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday this week. Benjamin Netanyahu has made it clear that the war in Lebanon will continue. Israeli ground forces intensified their fighting in the strategic southern Lebanese town of Bint Jubail. The IDF said that it has surrounded military infrastructure allegedly belonging to Hezbollah in a strategic town. An Israeli military official told the media that they have eliminated many Hezbollah operatives and will gain control of this town within a period of days. On the other hand, Hezbollah is claimed to have attacked Israeli forces in this very town with rockets, artillery fire and suicide drones. Smoke was seen rising in South Lebanon a day after the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited troops in this region. Visuals showed Israeli military vehicles, including tanks, at the border. Now, while meeting IDF troops, Netanyahu highlighted their achievements but maintained that there is still more work to be done. Speaking during a cabinet meeting a few hours earlier, he stressed on the importance of creating a deeper security zone inside Lebanon that prevents the danger of infiltration by Hezbollah operatives.
The first thing is that they are pushing the enemy away from the border. We are not talking about 5 points. We are talking about a solid, deeper security zone that both prevents the danger of infiltration and pushes back the anti-tank missile threat.
Now, a day earlier, the Israeli military claimed to have struck Hezbollah rocket launchers. Black smoke could be seen rising in the southern suburbs of Lebanon's capital, Beirut. On the other hand, air raid sirens were sounded in Israeli villages near the border, warning of incoming rocket fire from Lebanon. The IDF also released footage of its soldiers dismantling an underground tunnel route allegedly used by Hezbollah in South Lebanon. In the early hours of Monday, Lebanon's health ministry stated that 4 people were killed in an Israeli airstrike on the southern Lebanon town of Marub. In the 24 hours preceding Sunday, it revealed that 35 were killed and 152 others were wounded across Lebanon. This has propelled the death toll in Lebanon to 2,089. An additional 6,762 people have been injured. In yet another attack, a Red Cross center in Lebanon's city of Tyre was hit in Israeli strikes, resulting in the death of 1 person. Several ambulances were damaged as well. Now, Hezbollah is also retaliating. The IDF has claimed to have intercepted over 10 hostile drones launched from Lebanon towards Israeli territory since this morning. Amid this, Lebanon's Prime Minister Nawaf Salam has emphasized that his government is committed to ending the war with Israel through negotiations.
We will continue our work to stop this war, which was not our choice, to ensure the Israeli withdrawal from all our lands, the return of the prisoners, to rebuild our destroyed villages and towns, and the safe return of the displaced so they can live there in dignity and security.
However, Hezbollah rejected direct talks between Israel and Lebanon. The deputy head of Hezbollah's political council, Mahmoud Komati, told the media that Iranian pressure has compelled Israel to negotiate. He's also added that Hezbollah doesn't expect any positive outcomes from the talks.